Hi, Gunn here from Lethbridge News Now. Welcome to the weekly from LNN, where we go over some of the biggest stories from this past week and what you can look forward to this weekend. Russia invaded Ukraine Thursday and reportedly took hold of the Chernobyl nuclear site. Canada also launched sanctions against 58 people and entities connected to Russia in hopes of averting an all-out war following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Political leaders across Canada are setting aside their differences to condemn Russia's actions and voice support for Ukraine. Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, who is of Ukrainian descent, spoke directly to Ukrainians and Russians in their own languages, reassuring them they are not forgotten, saying that Canada's fight isn't with them. The federal government is arranging the safe passage of Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and their families still in Ukraine. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is removing the Emergencies Act. He says the convoy blockade situation is no longer an emergency and the temporary powers are no longer necessary. A key part of the Emergencies Act was granting the power to freeze the bank accounts of protesters who refused to leave. Trudeau says the process of unfreezing those accounts is already underway, and within 60 days a parliamentary committee will complete an inquiry into the creation of the act and the powers it granted. Finance Minister Travis Taves announced the 2022 budget yesterday, saying the deficit is gone. Total expenses in 2022 are projected to be $62.1 billion, $2.8 billion less than 2021. Premier Jason Kenney says the surplus is due to spending restraints and dynamic growth in every sector. A sergeant with LPS has been found not guilty of one count of discreditable conduct in the Memegate investigation. That's despite him previously pleading guilty to 5 counts of misconduct, and the sergeant was among a group of 5 officers who in 2018 shared texts with each other that were described by LPS as profane, abusive, and insulting. 2 constables have already been temporarily demoted, while 2 others resigned back in November. The town of Raymond is starting a public engagement process on restaurant liquor licensing. For over 100 years, Raymond has been a dry community, meaning businesses like restaurants cannot serve alcohol. The public engagement process will last over the next 7 weeks. This Saturday is the Coldest Night of the Year fundraising event. The annual fundraiser takes place at Land O'Lakes Golf Course in Coaldale, and the Streets Alive Mission's hosting the walking event. Director of Fund Development Jennifer Lepko says all the funds raised will go to helping the less fortunate in Lethbridge, and Coaldale participants will either have to walk 2 or 5-kilometer loop around the golf course, with a virtual option available as well. For more details, you can go to lethbridgenewsnow.com. Those are just a few of the stories we've been covering this week. To stay up to date on the latest local and regional news, head over to lethbridgenewsnow.com or find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our Lethbridge News Now mobile app. If you have any stories or topics that you'd like us to follow, send us a message. Thanks for watching, and tune in next Friday for another edition of The Weekly with me, Gunn. Have a great weekend.